Welcome back, baseball fans, to the stunning eliminating the Cincinnati Reds video. They were just stunned by the San Francisco Giants. What we're looking at here, though, this is last year. I want to start this thing by showing what happened last year. They lost the World Series to the Orioles 4 straight, finishing 32-18. So at one point they were 32-14 last year. Bench, 24 homers and 200 at-bats. 284. It just jumps off the page. Tolan, 22 stolen bases. Jumps off. Carbo had a nice year. Of course, Rose had a nice year. Nice bullpen work out of Wayne Granger last year. John Franco was an all-star from the 80s portion. Gullett was 9-4 last year in 114 innings, but his ERA is pretty bad. Maloney is 6-3. Okay, enough of that, because you really came here to see what happened this year. And in 2021, they came right back with the best record in the playoffs. They got in a divisional round. Last year in the divisional round, they got the Dodgers, and they beat them 4 straight. Then they faced the Giants. This year, they get the Giants first, and if they win that, they would play either the Mets or the Dodgers. Not so fast. They didn't get past the Giants. 26-14. A couple rounds short of where they wanted to be. This is the best team in baseball the last 2 years. This year, Johnny Bench, MVP again. 20 homer, 57 RBIs, and under 200 at-bats. 309. But another unsung MVP is Bobby Tolan. 354, 404 on base. Every category. 3 homers, 17 RBI, 10 double, 4 triple, 15 stolen base. Tony Perez improved his card in the offseason, and it shows. 321, 6-33. Another big Carbo year. Lee May does a Lee May year. Now Pete Rose, this is the 69 Rose card. It's 348, and he only hit 281. So you could say, well, Pete Rose had a down year, but it probably didn't matter too much because the team batting average was better. Remember that Ray Euler talked about him in that final game? Seattle Pilot player, fringe extra guy, hit 164. Hit 289 with the Reds, better than Concepcion, who's below the Mendoza line. Another strong year for Wayne Granger in middle relief. Clay Carroll takes over the Franco role as closer. Was perfect until he ended the Red season by giving up 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th of Game 6 with a 2-out grand slam to Willie Mays. ERA goes from 0 to 2.37. Jim Maloney, what a courageous, great year. 8-1, 333, and was ready to pitch Game 7 if they would have held on in Game 6. The big problem is Don Gullett. He had 9 wins a year ago. This year, only 4 wins. They brought in Gary Nolan. He had a nice 1-loss record, but the ERA is 4.19, not particularly good. In general, the 3.91 team ERA still needs to get better. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know if the Reds can find the guys in this era to give them a top-notch pitching staff to get to that World Series championship. I just don't know. This is Gary Nolan and Don Gullett. This is their best they got. Clay Carroll, the best he's got. Granger's best year. Ross Grimsley's good enough, but apparently not. And offensively, there's nothing more to say. They've got everything there. So let's take a look lastly here at the Cincinnati Reds. Some of these famous cards are going to be going away, which is a shame. Ooh, the Pete Rose card. This is going to be sad to see that one go. I think people forget how great Rose was in '69. I got to show you that card here before we wrap the stack here of cards. All right, here's the 8 guys. All right, let's just go look. Let's go straight to Rose. So this is 69 Pete Rose, folks. And when you turn it over here, Again, look at the power. 16 homers and a 348. He's not doing that again. He's never doing that. I mean, he might give you 333. I mean, he'll do that, often, I guess. So he's Ace Pete Rose. What's more to say? One in right field with a -2 arm. Man, that's going to be a tough one to lose. The other guys, some nice contributors. All in all, we know they're going to be coming back in 1970. So let's see who's coming back for one more try at it. And the most important player comes back for one more. And boy, folks, if you're not a Johnny Bench fan, you should be now. He's got one more crack next year with this card. The MVP card of 1970. One more year. And what do you want him to do? He's done everything for two years. He's got 44 home runs and 375 at bats. Here he has 45 and 605 at bats. So he outdid himself the last 2 years, but he hasn't gotten a ring. And there's Bobby Tolan, but let's get his position first. They don't have a first baseman, but they will eventually. They'll bring Lee May back once they find him. Or they might want to just move Perez to first and get Lee May out of there now. They have that choice, you see. Concepcion, again, bad defense. Nice outfielders. And Helms it's actually a 1E10 at second. So you could go catcher first and second and short, or you could put Perez at third where he can't really field very well. Carbo, Tolan, Rose is coming back. Canigliaro and the BCs, Bernie Carbo and Billy Canigliaro. That's a pretty nice platoon in left field. Same kind of card, too, the 1/8 card. Add that together, and you got 39 homers and a 285 batting average. So obviously, you're not crying for the Reds offense. It's there. Now, Gullett and Nolan are coming back. Sadly, the number 3 guy, Jim Maloney, does not. And they really got to find an innings eater. Only Gullett eats innings here at 200. You got to find a guy to go into the 2 spot and push Nolan into the 3 spot. Somebody here between him and him to pitch over 200 innings. And he's not in the Reds organization. They might need to go out to find that guy to get this team over the hump. This Strickland guy was decent enough. A lefty from the Twins. And there's Clay Carroll. It's really sad. I mean, in the 8th and 9th innings of that Game 6, this was rolled 3 times. One time it was an out, 2 times it was a hit. If one of those single 1 to 14s that were hit were missed, the Reds are still playing. No homers. Homers there, doesn't matter. So, that's a typical 7-5 split. Nice balance. Reds are good to go. The heroes will be renewed, but one guy will not. So let's see what the Reds do with those 1969 players. Okay, folks, let's see what the Reds do with these 69 guys. We're going to start with Mike Fiore, who was actually a nice, productive player. Picked up in the token round of the draft as a left-handed bat. He played for Kansas City. He was available. He played DH about his 7th most of the year for Kansas City, for the Reds, as their DH. Of course, he didn't have a DH in the National League then, but there you go. 69 was his big year here at age 24 for an expansion Kansas City team. Beyond that, though, he tries, but he does not do very well. And that'll do it. So, congratulations, Mike Fiore. You ran with the big boys and couldn't get past the National League Championship Series, but you were a nice player, though. Nice card for Mike Fiore. All right, next guy is Lee May. Now, this should be a no-brainer, as he will play for the Reds. He's got an Oriole hat here. Eventually, this guy is with a Houston Astro, an Oriole, a Red, everywhere he produced. So, we know the big trade's coming up. I think in practical sense, I'm just going to let the Reds and Joe Morgan and Lee May, I'm going to let it run its course. I don't want to change too much of history when it's this important. So I'm just going to let May stay till 71, and then we'll get him and Morgan will flip-flop when that trade comes. Well, the compensation might be different. But generally, a first baseman with 39 home runs, you don't want to get rid of anyway. So this All-Star number 12 in MVP votes 71 card might be the one we use. That looks like the best of the 4 years. So we're thinking 71. So plus that guarantees you have him for 2 more years. I'm going to put in the comments section 71. For Lee May, obvious keeper for the Big Red Machine. Next up, let's have some fun, folks. We talked about him a few times. Let's go look up the career of Ray Oyler. Here is this guy. He played shortstop. We got a Tiger hat on here. And he played for the Tigers. Then he went to the Seattle Pilots as they were expansion team at age 31. Finished up with the Angels. 67, he got over 200. But he played fine this past year. He hit 280 something. And had a big game 6 that you would have seen. So it's a great story. A nice little anecdote to this young man's career. Who got a played for the Tigers, 424 plate appearances in 67, but it's all come to an end here. Congratulations, Ray Oyler. Your contribution is noted. Next up, Don Pavlicek. Interesting here is that he was a Red in the early part of the 60s. You see he's got a red set on here. And he moved away, I believe, to the White Sox. Yeah. But we kept him in the Reds organization with this card because we like this card because it's got a nice split versus lefties. Sadly, however, the 70 card might qualify for waivers, though it probably shouldn't because nobody's going to take that one. The 71 card, let's see if that exists, because that's the 782 OPS, but it's only 32 at-bats. I'm already thinking no. Boston's got so many darn catchers. They had Russ Gibson, they had Jerry Moses, Carlton Fisk, Bob Montgomery. They can't possibly have another catcher in 71. So let's check Pavlicek's existence on the Red Sox in 70 and 71. So we're going to go to Gary's Strat-O-Matic roster page. You can find this at superds.tripod.com/somrosters.html. We'll look at the 70 reprint for Boston. Oh, Tom Satriano, another catcher. Satriano and Moses, extra players. Bob Montgomery, another catcher. He's not there. So let's check the 71. Original, I don't think he's going to be here. Josephson and Montgomery. This before Carlton Fisk, of course. Oh, there's Fisk, actually. They had 3 catchers on that team. Well, that was all just to check if Don Pavlicek still exists, and he does not. So another retiree. Interesting. The Reds are retiring 3 guys. That kind of means that they had a pretty darn good team this past year, and they let a lot of extra guys go, and they have some work to do. They got to get on the phone in the off season because you can only retire 2 guys, and they have 3. So that can't go. They've got to make some moves for the draft. All right, one more hitter, and who else? Charlie, Mr. Hustle, Pete Edward Rose. Which year, folks? Which year is the only question. Which position? Still going to keep him in the outfield? Probably. Let's look at position here when we get to... So there, yeah, that's 69 season. 940 OPS. He'll never hit 900 again. No, sir. No, sir. He will not hit 900 OPS again. So, that's all right. Come on. I'm not going to complain. But here's the beauty of this. This is great, folks. This is wonderful. So what happens? It's a 4-year carryover league. 69 is done. So you pick a year between 70 and 73, the next 4 years. 70, 71, 72. Uh-oh, in 1973, Pete Rose is the MVP of the National League. Hitting .338, he will be your left fielder. This will be the card, 838 OPS. No-brainer, 73 rows, and that's a big get. So, this is what's so cool about the carryover league, if you're wondering, folks. When you have Hall of Famers, and they do this and this, it means you could play 4 years with this card and 4 years with this one, meaning that Pete Rose will average, split it in half, 343 over a period of 8 years playing right field or left field. I think he's probably a 1 in left field in 73. He might be a 2, but I think he's a 1. I might be wrong on that. But that's what's so great about the carryover league sometimes. It really rewards your Hall of Famers, All-Stars. And the point of the carryover league is that you hope a baseball player is good once every 4 years. We kind of showed it with Ray Euler. He had 1 good year out of 5. And that's the card we used, and it produced in the National League Divisional round. All right, let's get to the pitching. Sadly, Jim Maloney was all tuned up and ready to go. Matter of fact, he didn't even get on the plane to San Francisco. He waited and he stayed at home because he knew he was going to pitch Game 7 of the divisional series. Unfortunately, Jim did not get the chance to do it. He finished up 8-1. Great run for the Reds. Great pitcher for the Reds. 23-game winner in 63. 20-game winner in 65. Gosh, this is the guy we need now in the early 70s, and we don't have that in Cincinnati. We don't have that. We got, Jack Billingham, Fred Norman, Clay Kirby, guys like that. They're okay. They're in the Hall of okay, but they're not Jim Maloney at that point. And here you see 69 Maloney, and then he comes back for a cup of coffee with the Angels. It's over, though. It's over. And he will be retired. And you see, the Reds have got to they got to figure this out. They got 4 retired players. So it means that to create compensation in a trade, when teams are trading for retired players, you got to comp them. So you're not going to comp Bench or Carbo. Canigliaro, I think, is gone since he's a left fielder. Trade Canigliaro, since Pete Rose will be in left, for a keeper. Let's see, who else could you comp? That Jim Strickland, that lefty reliever, you can comp him as well. But there's plenty of time to figure out that stuff. Next pitcher is Gary Ross. Now, he had a nice year a little bit later on, I believe. Doesn't quite figure it out here. He had a nice year in the bullpen for the Reds. Did all right. That 69 card. I know it's a 4.35 ERA, but it was a nice split. A nice split with it. And it hid the warts, I guess you could say. So, 71 would be a nice year. Oh, the whip is bad and the innings are short. 72 would be good. Oh, there you go. You can go with a 72 card. All right, let's do this in steps. Let's consider him to be a waivered player first. He has to have a card in 1970 with 62 innings. So let's check and see if he exists for the Padres in the 70 reprint. Only if he exists can he qualify for waivers. So we're going to look for the Padres, for Gary Ross. Oh boy, maybe extra? He's there. Okay, so we got a waiver. He qualifies for waivers. I think the Reds will probably just let him go in waivers. They don't particularly need him. And lastly, Wayne Granger. 2 good years of long relief, a lot of innings. He was really leaned on because these Red starters just could not get into the 7th, 8th inning. So they rung up Wayne Granger quite frequently. I'm sure he pitches into 70. I recall him in the 70 World Series. Oh, he only led the league in saves in 70 and was 8th in MVP votes. Boom! So that's a big get. So that's a great finish. Wayne Granger, at the height of his powers, joining Clay Carroll in the Red bullpen for a couple more years at least. So when you see the Reds have 3 keepers, 1 retiree, and 1 waiver, and 4 retirees, they got to find themselves a keeper. They got to dangle one of their 12 active players that doesn't have a connection to Cincinnati. I mentioned Canigliaro doesn't have a connection to Cincinnati. He's here. Most of the other guys are Reds. Feel free to dangle Ross Grimsley. He didn't pitch very well. Jim Strickland didn't pitch very well either. Dangle any of those guys and get yourself a 4th keeper. That's what the Reds have to do before next year. Plenty of time to do that. Hope you're enjoying these elimination videos. I know I'm a little bit shocked that I'm doing a Cincinnati Red elimination this early. I would have said no-brainer for League Championship Series and World Series favorite, but it didn't happen this year. But they still got some good years coming up. Don't fret about the Cincinnati Reds. They'll be stars in the carryover league for the next decade. They're not going to disappear anytime soon. We don't even get Joe Morgan for 3 more years. So, thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.